Hi, my name is Jamie, and today I'm going to be giving a Dharma talk that surrounds the concept of stability and having a really strong base. So first, I'm going to be discussing our root chakra, Muladhara. Then I'm going to move on and talk a little bit about the posture Trikonasana. And finally, I'm going to be discussing the Gita Sutra 9.29 and how all of these things relate to having a really strong base in our practice, in our physical selves, and in our daily lives. So let's hop in. The first thing I'm going to be talking about is our root chakra, Muladhara. Our root chakra is located at the base of the spine, our pelvic floor, and the lower three vertebrae in our spine. Our Muladhara chakra is associated with things like security, stability, our safety, and having our basic needs met. Some of these basic needs can include having enough food to eat, having enough money to live our daily lives that we need to live, having a secure shelter, and those are some of the physical needs that we need met, right? But we also have things, non-physical needs that must be met. Things like having healthy relationships and having supportive community members and supportive community groups. In order for our root chakra to really function at its maximum capacity and filter and cycle that energy like it needs to, those basic needs need to be met within our lives. Some very simple ways or accessible ways that you can support your Muladhara chakra are through certain asanas, such as Malasana, or our yogi squat, Tadasana, mountain pose, and Baddha Konasana, our bound angle pose. Any of those postures that really connect us to the earth and give us a strong rooted system through the earth. You can also meditate on your safety and security and do some of that inner work, meditation, contemplation, even journaling, those self-care practices to really explore your relation to the concept of safety and security. It's also really important in mentioning all of this that you process and face any of your past traumas or past issues, difficulties that might not allow you to feel safe and secure where you're at right now. All of those things come together to really affect your root chakra's functionality. It's important that our root chakra functions because it is the base. It's the lower of all of our chakras within the chakra system. So that energy cannot ascend upwards without having a functioning root chakra. So it's important that we focus on all of those basic, base, stable things first so that our energy can then ascend upwards. Cool. So the next thing that we're going to be discussing is the asana Trikonasana and all of its fantastic symbolism. So Trikonasana, or triangle pose, is composed of 3 triangles. As a matter of fact, the actual asana itself, Trikonasana, is made up of 3 different triangles made by the body. Also, did you know that the triangle, geometrically speaking, is considered to be one of the most stable forms or structures? This is represented by a myriad of things. The Trinity, there are a bunch of different trinities that can be symbolized by the triangle or the 3. Things like the maiden, the mother, the crone, things like the earth, space, and the heavens are all symbolized by the Trinity. The ones I'm going to be discussing today are the 3 gunas. The 3 gunas are Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. Rajas guna, actually I'm going to start with Tamas. Tamas guna is represented by Shiva, and that's our energy that's more represented with inertia, sluggishness, slow-paced movements. Our next one is Rajas. Rajas is represented by Brahma, and that's our more fast-paced, passionate, energetic energy that we might hold. And we need Rajas energy to be able to manifest things into reality. That's our creative source, our creative energy. And last but not least, we have Sattva, that is represented by Krishna. Sattva is our enlightened, calm, open state, our yogi state, so to speak. Now, one might think that one guna might be better or more powerful than the other, but that's not necessarily the case. It's actually really quite important that we have a balance between the three gunas that we all maintain. These three gunas, tamas, rajas, and sattva, mix together to combine maya. So those three gunas that I mentioned are the base, or the stable force, that all contribute to form something called maya, which is the great illusion, the great perception that we all perceive through our senses. Now, as yogis, it said that we are able to ascend through maya, or through this world of illusion, once we have maintained and found balance within these three gunas, to attain a state called Suddha Sattva, or the enlightened state, where we are experiencing pure thought, pure existence, really. So those are the three gunas and their representations through the asana Trikonasana. Lastly, I would like to discuss Gita Sutra 9.29. In Gita Sutra 9.29, Krishna, embodied, is having a conversation with Arjuna, who is, I'm gonna go ahead and, no, I'll just keep it, who is leading his war, his side of the war, his troops in war. So they're speaking, and Krishna is telling him that he doesn't really have a preference of anybody or anything. Nothing is greater and nothing is lesser to him. But that those who love him and those who are devoted to him through practice will be able to experience that true love that he is and that he also experiences. So obviously, as yogis, we don't necessarily believe that Krishna is God. We don't believe it as a singular God. However, we can see this as a metaphor. So in this conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, we can see Krishna as our highest self and Arjuna as our conscious personality self. And what it is saying, and what is illustrated within this conversation and this myth, is that we can idealize, or we can worship our highest self. And in doing that, and in embodying our highest selves with more and more frequency, that difference between our egoic self and our conscious personality self, and then our highest self, those differences and those edges will start to blur just a little bit. And the ego will begin to diminish, and our current selves will start to meld with our highest selves. This goes to say that, just as Krishna said, when we live in love, when we accept ourselves and when we accept others, we begin to live as our highest selves and embody that energy. And in doing so, we can act as an example to everyone else. Everyone else will see that we are living in love, accepting others and accepting ourselves, so that they can use us as an example to see that they are capable of doing the same thing, just as Krishna illustrated to Arjuna. And really that's to say that love is the base, or the stability, for everything in existence. So that's Gita Sutra 9.29, and that was my Dharma talk relating stability and having a strong base. Thank you.